Thank you, Billy. Thank you very much. Right, my goodness. So I'm going to talk to you today about my round the world trip that I did in the early 1980s. And when I got back from my trip in 1984, there was very little, or I would say no interest really, from the bike press and about what I'd done. Nobody wanted to really acknowledge it or tell my story, which was kind of fine because I'd done it for myself anyway. And it was only like 20 odd years later, about 25 years later, a friend of mine was talking to somebody at BMW, and Paul mentioned to Andy that he knew someone and put a few photos and we'll put it up on our international website. So it was 2008, this picture went on the internet for the very first time. So this was like nearly 30 years after I got back from my trip. And there was kind of something about this picture which seemed to capture people's imagination. And this thing went everywhere, all over the internet. And I had absolutely no idea that this was happening. And it was so then about 5 years later, in 2014, I was completely out of the blue contacted by an agent in Hollywood who had found my story and this image on the internet, and they wanted to buy the rights to my story to make a film. So I'd gone from nobody wanting to know anything to suddenly somebody wanting to make a film. So I was flown out to Hollywood and wined and dined, and I met all these producers and scriptwriters. But I think I got the feeling that Hollywood had their own idea of what story they wanted to tell and what kind of film they wanted to make. So, and because I hadn't looked at any of my diaries or journals or photographs for nearly 30 odd years at that stage, I kind of said thanks but no thanks to Hollywood. And I came back and I thought, well, maybe people are interested in what I did, so I might write a book. So I then spent the next 3 years getting my book together, which was because obviously it was such a long time ago. So it was quite an arduous process, getting everything, going through all my letters. But amazingly, I had kept kind of everything, and I was very good when I was travelling. At the end of each stage, I was like at the end of America, end of Australia, end of Southeast Asia, I would package everything up, all my shipping documents, my letters, my bits, anything I had from my trip. I would put it in a brown envelope and send it home. So all these envelopes were in this box in the back of a cupboard, which of course I'd never opened. So I went through this whole process of going through all this stuff, and I got this ghostwriter to help me, so he went through everything. And so it was so I owe a lot to this image. I've been told that this image has now become iconic, or whatever that means. And it was about a year after my book was published, which was published in 2017, that somebody sent me this picture, which they took in TK Maxx in Bristol. And
99.
eh?
99.
Anyway, so they'd stolen this image off the internet. And anyway, so I contacted them and I said, nice t-shirt, but it's kind of me, it's my image, you should have asked. And they were like really aggressive. And they said, you need to prove it's you, and we don't believe it's you, we don't believe it's your bike, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, so I sued them and I won. And I kind of wouldn't mind it if they'd just asked me, just be nice about it. Anyway, so how did it all begin? So
in the traveller's tent, and I've just bought a book. It's I've been after it for a while.
and it's cheaper than Amazon. So if you want to go, come and
cheaper than Amazon, absolutely. Don't buy from Amazon. So.
No, you want to get it from Ellsworth directly. You can get it from your website.
You can get it from my website. You can buy the paperback, which is published in 2017, and then there's my photographic book, which has got about nearly 500 photographs from my trip, and I'll sign all the books that I send out. So yeah, if you want to go to my website, which is elspethbeard.com, so nice and simple. So I'm at ABR at the moment, which has been a 3-day event, fantastic event. It's been really, really great. This is actually the 6th year I've come here.
Oh wow!
And I think the first year there were I think there were a few events before, but the first year that I came to it, there were about 3,000 people here, and this year they've got 17,000, and I think they're aiming for 20,000 next year. So.
Wow.
Bigger and better. So
what's been your favourite thing about the festival?
I think it's just the atmosphere, and I think it's just meeting up with great like-minded people, to be honest. I mean, obviously you've got all the talks, all the bike manufacturers here. You can do test rides. You've got all the trade stuff. You know, you can buy anything, find anything. But I think for me, it's just all the like-minded people, you know. It's just great, and I meet up with a lot from my friends here, and so that's great.
Okay, where's the best food then?
Well, the best food, I had a very nice Thai yesterday. There's a really good Thai stall, so I would definitely recommend that next year if anybody comes along next year.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
So if you're coming here, definitely check out Ellsworth's books. I think it's important to keep supporting these people who really give a lot of inspiration and help to people and motivate us. So at least if we can keep supporting you, keep you going, keep you energized, and keep you coming back well in pocket as well as in mind, and you come and have a fantastic time. So another reason to come to the ABR, not just the helmets, but for fantastic books and stories, and getting to meet some incredible people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And yeah, there were really low moments where we were kind of thinking, you know, is it worth pushing on? Especially in Australia, like to do it as a kickstand up to kickstand down, like true race with all flights, all sleeping, all food, like everything included, means that you're married to a season. So if the snow is just about to arrive in Alaska, then the winter is like just ending in Australia. So you can do it in the spring or in the fall, but either way you're going to be cold in both of those places because you can't do summer in one and ride in the winter in the other. So Australia was a low point for the fatigue, the cold, because it comes at the end. We did it around that direction.
What was your route in Australia?
Perth to Sydney with some off-roading in between.
I mean, that in itself, for most people, is a once-in-a-lifetime route.
Yeah.
That is not a short distance.
No, it's not a short distance, and I mean, we knocked it off in less than 3 days. But the thing with Australia is the kangaroos, man. It's tough.
Talking about hitting things, did you have any occurrences on recording this that you thought, shit, the bike's a write-off, I've had an off? Many times.
Yeah, we didn't get close to a write-off. We did the whole thing on MV4. So part of being able to do this, and this was our advantage in being a film crew. The disadvantage being that we have to film it, and that takes a lot of time. But the advantage was we were able to work with a manufacturer. So I talked to Honda and Kawi and Yamaha and NS, everybody, and no one was into it until we talked to Ducati, and they're like exactly as Italian as you would hope they would be. I told this story before, so sorry if you've heard it again, but I was expecting all these no's, no from everyone. I talked to Ducati, and the guy's just like, oh yes, it's a race, I understand. It is very fun. You would put the tire warmers and you go. And he was just immediately in. So we had, okay, cool. So we had a pair of MV4s that we rode, to Miami, left them right at the airport, flew to Lisbon, slept as much as we could on the plane. There's 2 MV4s waiting there, ride to Istanbul, drop them there, sleep on the plane, Mumbai, Bangkok, Mumbai to Calcutta, Bangkok to Singapore, Perth to Sydney, and back up to Alaska and home. So it's a different route than Nick did. It involves less extracurricular, but the pace and the continuity was kind of what we were going for. And we don't really, whether anyone says, okay, you have it, or he has it, or Kevin and Julia still have it because they have the Guinness, it doesn't matter to us. We wanted to make a fun movie and throw it out there to people to show them, like, if you want to go on a big adventure and you have 2 weeks off, like you can go around the world. Because that's what it was for me. Like, I've got a couple little kids, right? And I never want to go away for very long. And the last time we were at ABR, I caught Nick Sanders, who's like one of my heroes for all the endurance stuff he's done. And he's just such a rad and inspiring dude. And I had no idea that his record time was like 19 days. So I said to my wife, like, hey, I could go do a big thing and I'll be back in less than, maybe 2 weeks or a little more. And that was kind of how I sold it. So yeah, we just wanted to throw it out there in front of as many people as we
can. Next one here.
Hi Ryan, Glenn here. Well done on the around the world trip. How long was it in the planning?
I started thinking about it when I watched Nick at the ABR festival. So that would have been like late June, and then we did the ride in the September of the next year. So we were in the planning for like 15 months. I don't know if he does. I've tried to contact him for like a year through his website, and like I've tried all angles, being like, "Hey, I want to talk to you," and I've never got through.
Do you want to go for a drink in a minute?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah. Sit me down with the guy.
I might have a connection.
yeah, that'd be great. So yeah, a little over the year in the planning, and most of that was getting the right permits to go into the country as a film crew. So if you're like a private individual, you're a tourist, that's much easier. But because we wanted to film in India and film in Australia and in Turkey, and it was, I don't know, it was like 17 or 18 countries, they all have different visas that you need to come in and do that. And that was the process that took a really long time, because you apply and then you're waiting for a while.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Have a fantastic time. All being well, we'll see you over on the Himalayas.
North, it's going to be, the end of spring, the beginning of summer possibly, but it's certainly not winter. That's the point. So you get it wrong, however much experience you've got, and enjoyably so. I felt on this journey I was kind of releasing myself to randomness and chaos, and I just wanted to see what would happen next. And that might be that kind of unfamiliar feeling I was still looking for, which goes back to the original thing about, what was it like when you first rode your first bike? I wanted that feeling again.
And when you set off on this journey, do you feel the same way that you did when you set off on that first journey on the Royal Enfield around the world? Do you still get that same buzz of anticipation that I'm off on a bike trip?
I think you probably do. I think it has to be worked at. I think everybody who wants to go adventuring must have that feeling. Otherwise they're going to be full of fear. And the fear will virtually, castrate your ability to actually do it properly and safely. I think that I had to create a feeling of fun, in such a way, because having done so many countries and so much travelling, 6 months, I've been travelling for 6 months a year for the last 44 years, every single year, yeah. And every day I moved. So I'm a movement traveller. I don't think anybody probably in the world of biking will have travelled as much as me, simply because of the longevity of the exercise. They come and go around the world, as you know, and I'm still doing it.
Most people only do it once.
Really? Goodness gracious.
No one told you that, did they?
It's just getting warmed up.
No. How did this trip around Europe, how did it compare to the other journeys you've done?
Well, I think in actual fact what I've found is that Europe is a very busy place. Now, equally you have countries which, you favour. We all like going to France and Spain and so forth. And you have a 1 to 10 of what the countries you do and don't agree with, really. I found Bulgaria a little bit, I didn't really enjoy Bulgaria, Albania perhaps not giving. I think there are different ways to travel across different countries. I think Albania, off-road is possibly stunning. I'm sure. Because we've seen articles in ABR about this. But when you're riding through Albania quickly, it has a different face to it. And I think what I found that you need to slow down to see more, definitely. And that I've been transitioning to for quite some time, which is saying something from someone who's done around the world in 19 days.
So you haven't transitioned very quickly.
No, I'm not very good at it, clearly.
That's it.
I know.
I remember you made. Hello, Nora Lee. Welcome to the ABR Festival. It's been 2 years, 3 years since we've had it. 2 years since we've had a chat on stage. It's a wonderful to see you. You have done more in that 2 years than I will probably do in a lifetime, which, you know, I'm impressed by, but also makes me feel a bit bad about myself. But hey, what can you do? It is so good to have you back at the ABR Festival. It genuinely is. When I saw you were coming, I was so pleased. These guys are pleased, aren't you? And I wanted to start by, well, congratulating you, because since the last time I saw you, not only you are probably the world's most popular YouTuber, but you're also a best-selling author.
Thanks to all of you, to be fair. Thank you.
Did it feel good to finally have that book in your hands?
Yeah, it feels very unreal when you first get like the first copy and you're just like jumping around the room on your own. So, but I'm more happy that, you know, everybody else can read it too. And did any of you already read it? Yeah. Good. Did you like it?
Would you recommend others buy it? Yes? Yes. So I'd like to talk about the book, because I think it's an awesome thing to have done, and to become a best-selling author in the process as well. So could you let everyone know why you decided to write a book? What motivated you to do it at this point in time?
Well, since I was a small kid, since I could actually write my first words, I always wanted to be a writer. That was my big dream. I wanted to be a writer, and somewhere along the line, you know, I kind of went down a different path, and I became a biologist and then a geologist, and then threw all of that out of the window and then became a YouTuber. And but now, finally, I did write a book. So for me, it was a really long dream that finally happened. And I guess I just had to ride around the world on a motorbike first to actually have a story to tell, to write about. So yeah.
And what a story that you do tell. When you finally got that book in your hands, because you said you had to ride around the world, then you had to sit down and get it down all on paper. When you finally got that copy of that book in your hands, which is your life, what does it feel like to have your life in your hands?
Rather terrifying, because the thing is, for me, on YouTube, there's always I feel like there's a very clear divide in what is Itchy Boots and what is Nora Lee. So I feel like when I'm, you know, writing and making my videos, I am Itchy Boots. But there's of course also a private part that I always feel like, okay, this is mine, you know, like I feel like you don't have to throw everything about your life on the internet. And so when I started writing the book, I kind of had the same idea, like, okay, you know, there's a divide, but I don't quite know what happened. But apparently when you start writing, or at least when I start writing, things started coming out that I was like, what am I typing? What am I typing? And it became a lot more personal than I intended it to be. And so it was quite an emotional process actually for myself to actually now write all of this down, because it's part of the story of why I started doing all of this, which came from kind of a sad time that I always kept to myself. I always kept that very private, but now it's in the book, so oops.
There's a flaw to the logic there, isn't there?
I love it both. I love writing, but yeah, I also still really enjoy the video making. I don't know, I don't know what's wrong with me, but like when I was studying and, you know, doing my previous jobs, I always thought that I was more, do you have this distinction between alphas and betas in terms of like, yeah, so I always thought I was more of a beta, like I did science and like that sort of thing, and I never saw myself as a creative person. I was like, I'm not creative at all. And now I started to realize that I actually really love to create, and whether it's in video making or writing. And sometimes I announce, or sometimes there's a small break on the channel. And then always when I take a small break, I always feel very relieved. I'm like, oh, I can have a break, I don't need to think about the next episode, And then, but already then after a few weeks, I'm kind of like I miss the creating, I miss making something, whether it's in a video or writing. So it's 50-50. Now that's a part that I also try to talk about in the book a little bit, is that before I started Itchy Boots, I've always been a traveler. So I already traveled to 70 countries on my own before I started doing it on a motorbike. So the traveling part has always been there with me, and I've never been able to stay in one place for a long time. And I mean, I am Itchy Boots. I cannot bloody stay in one place, And it's like during the journey as well, often that sometimes I'm really tired after a really difficult day of off-road or mud or whatever. And if I then get to a place which is nice and comfortable, I'm like, okay, it's a good bed, there's internet, there's a hot shower, I like it. And then I think, I'm gonna stay here and rest. And then the next day I'm like, okay, let's go, I'm just always so, like the curiosity is so strong that I just need to keep going and there's always more to see, more to explore. So yeah, I hope to keep on going for as long as possible.
I'd say you've never done a Netflix binge then. That would be a no. Just hold on for a while. We've got another question here from Daniel Jones. It's all about the motorbikes. You love travelling by motorbike, and it shines through so clearly in your videos. Daniel would like to know, do you prefer older motorcycles, or do you prefer newer motorcycles with a little bit of technology and some creature comforts?
Yeah, for me it's always the motorcycle that you have at the moment in that adventure is always the best motorcycle. That is your partner. That's the motorcycle that's gonna take you through all of the challenges and all the barriers that you can find on your way. So you better like that bike. Build a relationship with the bike. It's just gonna be your only friend if you travel alone. So obviously now that I'm riding. I do have a little bit of problem of calling it a vintage motorcycle because it's the same birth year as me. So I've got so that it's the same. And I say I'm riding an old motorcycle. And I'm like, I don't really want to say that, but anyway, 1987. So now, of course, I'm in total love with this motorcycle, and it's just an absolute joy to ride. What I always think is that if you look at your motorcycle, you need to feel that, you need to get that feeling of like, ooh, I'm gonna go on a ride. It needs to, it needs to be exciting. And I think because this motorcycle is really quite special, and there's so much done on it, and it's so one of a kind. It cannot be replaced. And that was actually the reason why I put an AirTag in this motorcycle, because I thought if something goes wrong with this motorcycle, it cannot be replaced. And then, the bike got stolen in Iraq, and I only found it back because of the AirTag, so that really saved me. And then when I came to the UK, I was like, maybe I should also put an AirTag in this one, and there you go, wheels! Yeah, so maybe.
He's an avid filmmaker, isn't he? Yeah. That's all right, we're not taking questions from the audience at the moment, but
Second, YouTube's not like this. You can't just script questions all the time. We interact with this person all the time.
okay, I think people would like to hear from Norley rather than yourself.
Hey, what are scripted questions? We don't interact with YouTube and scripted questions.
We do have 3 minutes left. I was hoping to speak to Nora a little bit more. We'd like to hear from her. So I don't know if this chap could leave. Apologies, guys. Just for a moment.
Some more beer.
Thank you for your patience. Apologies for that. I think people are probably kind of a real thrill having their questions asked to you. We did put the call out a while ago. So all that's left to say is thank you so much. Everyone, give it up for Itchy Boots!
I'm in the queue for the Norley book signing, and you can see it's going over quite a while.